Why? They're just gonna get dirty again.
That diff's far dirtier than that one.
You know, I think the same principle applies to wiping your butt. There is a reason you wipe it. I know it's just gonna get dirty again, but... Here we are, back on the internet. It's been a long summer. I've been doing a lot of stuff. But now it's winter time, so I have time to make videos again. Okay, Parts Cars here is running. I'm gonna run back to the Parts Cars over there and find myself some springs to put in the back of the off-roadster. Because those ones are pretty much shot. When you jump a car that's not made to be jumped, then you break stuff. So I need some new springs. Let's go find some. Too rusty, too lowering. Maybe. Oh, hey, that's a spare transmission. I was wondering where that was. Blue dot and yellow dot. That means something, but I have no idea what. But I do know that it's bigger. I only have one of those, though. That's a problem. Those are broken. I don't know why I keep broken springs. What's the point of that? Okay, let's go back to the shop. Okay, so we have both cars up in the air. Let's go find out what's going on here. I'm guessing that... I don't know how well you can see that. Ooh, that's warm. I just drove it here. That's a differential that's working. It has just the right amount of play in it. Now, let's go see what happened. Oh, yuck. Ew. Let's go see what happened to the off-roadster. So, that moves a whole lot more than the other one. Okay, so I have this whole diff out and this one out and all the accompanying parts that I need. You got to change the axles and the drive shaft and all that to go from 1.6 diff to a 1.8 diff, if you're a Miata person and you're wondering about that. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to knock these guys out so that I can put longer bolts in there so that I can space this so that the whole diff can drop down, and then I won't have as crazy of an angle right there on my axles. Oh yeah, look at that. There we go now. Ow! Right there. Either there's a chunk out of a gear missing or the spider gears went and they're gone. Just so you know, your diff oil should not be gray or silver or shiny or milky. If it's milky, you have different problems. That means there's water in there. But if it's gray or silver like that, that means that there's metal in your oil, which you don't want. That's not good. There, look at that. That, all that is in there. Look at that. At least it's a cool texture. Okay, so this is shot. Spider gears are stripped, but we can still weld that, and this is good for a drift Miata diff. It's a drift diff. That diff is going to go in that car, and I don't know what's in there, if it's a Torsen or a VSLSD, whatever. I need to open that so I see what's in there. Part of me goes, no, you shouldn't open it because it works, just leave it and it'll keep working. But the other part of me goes, well, I know what I'm doing so I can pull it apart. So let's do that, let's pull it apart. Because I just need to know, it will please my heart to just know what's inside of there. Let's do it. First things first, drain the oil out of it. Chris Levin from the Lifted Miata Facebook page, you asked for a vlog on putting this all together. So, this is for you. Gotta hit it like a man. Otherwise, things just won't work nice. If you have the time, or if you want to be prepared sooner than I am, actually, I am prepared. I was gonna say get these seals before you start. I have these seals. They're in my other shop, which is a ways that way. They don't leak now, so it's just a good idea to do. I think they're like $3 or something. May as well do it while you got them out. Okay. If you're having problems with your socket stripping, this is a 12 point, that is a 6 point. Look at how much more surface contact you have on this one than this one. So this one, have a much better chance of getting those bolts out when they start sliding around on it. Extensions, you lose torque. Also, buy yourself a Milwaukee. That thing's the best. Well worth the money. The other fun part about this, aluminum, not aluminum. Aluminum, not aluminum. Those two don't like each other at all. Somehow they just stick together. Why don't they just get a divorce? Here we go, let's divorce these guys. Aha! I'm in luck! So this makes me happy. Yeah, that's a torsion for you. Funky, spinny, helical gears. Yeehaw! Alright, so I finally have a good diff to put in this thing. I'm not promising that it's not going to break, but that's a good place to start. Okay, before we put this back together, I'm going to clean all this stuff. Okay, before it goes back together, I want to make sure that your surfaces are dry and clean. So a little bit of brake clean on there, wipe that off. I already took a razor blade to it and scraped all the old stuff off. Well, this guy works wonders, so you know, scrape it off. Get yourself some Ultra Black. I'm not sponsored by Permatex, but this stuff is great. It seals it, and it makes it impossible to take it off later when you want to take it off. That's empty. And you know what's going to happen now? I'm going to squeeze it, and there's going to be a big blob that comes spitting out. Or not. That's what happens when you don't put the lid back on. I always put the lid on, but whoever was using my tube did not put the lid on, and now it dried, and there's a big turd nugget in the end of this thing. See if we're lucky if it's cut off the end. Make sure that doesn't stay in there. Oh, that's all solid. Now we gotta pick it out. There we go. Sooner put too much than too little, within reason. You can always scrape off the excess that's on the outside. You can't scrape off the excess that's on the inside. You don't want to get lots on the inside because you're supposed to have oil and gears in there, not silicone. Make sure you dump all the brake clean out of this after you clean it. Put her back in. Oh, look at that. Different length bolts. It would be good to know where that came from. I know that this one clearly is different. That one goes in the bottom. Okay, they're all in there, and then go around and torque them. With this guy, it's about a 3 dugga. Oh, that might have been 5. Now, if you got new seals, you should have put those in already. I don't have them, so. There's one. And clean those off too before you put them in. There we go.
She's ready to rock.
There. Now, with these guys, that one is still warm. Oh, it is warm. With these guys out of here, I can pull whatever length of bolt I want in there. So let's go get a longer bolt. Okay, so I got longer bolts. It's a good thing to have these lying around. I don't throw anything out because you never know when you need a longer bolt. Quite a bit longer. Originally what my thought was is I was just going to hammer that out and put a new bolt in facing down. However, that still makes it complicated to install because then you have a loose floppy bolt. What I am going to do is I'm going to weld this nut to this washer, and then I'll put that on there and I'll weld the washer onto there, and that way bloop, 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 you're only dealing with one loose floppy part, not multiple. Because if this is down, then this is loose and flopping around while you're holding a diff, while you're holding your spacers, while you're trying to put a nut on there, while you're trying to hold the top of this guy so it stops it from spinning it too. That's just a gong show. Why not make it easier on ourselves? Weld the nut there, and we're good. Then we can put in whatever size bolt whenever we want. If I need to go less, if I need to go more, longer bolt or shorter bolt. That's all I gotta do. Instead of bringing the welder over here, I'll just bring this to the welder. The other thing that I'm gonna do, I'm welding those on, take a bolt with the spacer. That goes in there before I weld so that my slag doesn't fill my threads inside there and I can't get my bolts in there. And it holds it in place right where I need it. Okay, welded, clean them off, make sure there's no goo, junk left on there, or minimal amount. Still kind of warm. Rust paint, whether it's Rust-Oleum or this is Krylon, whatever you call it. Some sort of paint with rust inhibitor in it. That's good. This whole thing is truck bed liner. I'm not pulling out a thing of truck bed liner just for these two little bolts. Paint them black. That way they don't rust. Nobody's the wiser because nobody's going to be looking at my undercarriage. What I'm going to do is put just the subframe in now so that I can see where I want my diff to sit once it's in the vehicle. It's easier to do once that's all in there and I can figure that out at that point. So this is how I'm going to space my diff. There's an old bearing. I don't throw anything away because you never know when an old pulley off of something is going to be useful. In this case, that's a solid chunk of metal that's going to act as my spacer on my diff. Essentially dropping that down, I don't know, 1.5 inches. So that'll go in there, bolt goes in there, diff sits that much lower, and my axles don't have crazy angle on them anymore. So when you're doing a swap from a 6-inch to a 7-inch diff, a 1.6 liter Miata to a 1.8 liter Miata, you gotta do the drive shaft and your axles as well as the diff. One being these holes are different spacing than these holes. If we use the universal measuring stick, that's about 1 finger length. That is less than 1 finger length. 1 finger length, 1 less than finger length. Simple math, easy. And then the drive shafts, those are longer. Oddly enough, in this situation, it's better to have a shorter shaft. So the spiders on this thing are all stripped off. in there. As you can see, these guys, those should turn. So it's useless for regular on-road driving, but it'll work good for a field car. So we'll weld all these guys up in here, and that'll be locked solid. Then this guy just turns as once, turns at one time. Hold on. That's why it doesn't work. There's a chunk of metal right there. I'll get it out later. Don't worry about making it look nice. Weld those spiders to those spiders, and then the spiders with the pin in it, I weld it to that too. Because now what we can do is put your glove on. Don't touch it without putting your glove on. Now, that's just one solid chunk. So when this guy turns, you don't have one wheel slipping anymore. Solid. Good for drifting, good for field, good for snow. There's still a rough spot in here somewhere though. That's the ugly side. That's the less ugly side. Don't skimp out on the welding. Fill it full, because otherwise I've seen it where it breaks and you gotta pull it apart and you gotta do it again. And that's annoying, and it costs you more oil, because oil does cost money. Just fill it. Do it right the first time. Okay, so there we go. Diff welded. That's what it looks like. Let's go put it back in the car, and then I have myself a winter beater field ice racing drift diff. Hello, shop dogs. Yeah, this is Mocha, and this is Turbo. Yeah, and they are a bunch of hooligans, but they're nice to have around. Hey, yeah, oh hi. Mocha's a puppy. Turbo's 3 or 4 years old now. Hey, yeah, oh, he wants his bum scratched, but Mocha's here. Hi, Missy. Yeah, hello. Denzel stopped by so that we can throw a third Miata up in the air. Basically what's happening is that's the diff that I just welded, but it has a better gear ratio for big tires, so we're gonna put that in his car, and then the diff that's in there is actually still mine. And so that's gonna go in there until I pull it out of there and put it in one of my other cars, because I want an LSD in that. No, that car has an LSD in it. I don't need to do that. Whatever. He's getting a good gear ratio. That's it. There's no handle. It's awkward. I want to hold on to this.
The human diff jack.
Thank you. Just stay there. I'll just put this one on you.
Give me a minute to wipe my hand off.
Why? They're just gonna get dirty again.
That diff's far dirtier than that one.
You know, I think the same principle applies to wiping, but there is a reason you wipe it. I know it's just gonna get dirty again, but. One more. Come in. Jump it. Run. Okay. 3 diffs out, 3 diffs back in. Yeah, we're done. It's been a long day. So now, the diff from that car, that was in that car, did that originally come out of this car actually?
No.
So, the diff that was in there that broke originally came from this car. It's now back in this car, except it's welded, because the only thing that broke were the spider gears inside. And you probably already watched it on this video. If you didn't, there's another video, and you can go watch that one. And if I can figure it out, it'll be right here. That's how that's done.
Yeah.
So that diff that's in there came from that car, and the diff that's in there came from this car. So now we're all happy. Good day's work. Time to go to bed. tomorrow we'll rip around and do some video stuff.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Fada, fada. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost myself. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stands still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Fada, fada.
So right now I'm in tow going back to the shop because we found a big rock in the parts car, and that rock has now put a hole in the oil pan and there's no oil left in that. So I have some fixing on this one to do. That's just the nature of having a field vehicle. Caution, when driving through a field, there's rocks. You break stuff. Part of life. It's part of the fun. And that's why I drive a Miata, because parts are cheap. So if you want to have fun in a field for a very little amount of money, buy a Miata, because they're rear-wheel drive and parts are cheap and they're everywhere. We all had a good time. It's not the end of the world. We'll get a new one on there and this car will be back to driving condition and we'll have some more fun with it later on. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.